First, I'd like to thank you all for allowing CSCA this opportunity to speak at this public forum tonight. We'd like to thank you as well for your years of service as a big part of this corporation. You were always a gentleman, you treated this union and its employees with respect, and we will miss you too. I think we're losing a good one. I'd like to thank this board for giving us the time to speak publicly about some issues that we have. Chairman Rizzo, I find your job not much different than my job. I thank this one. A job where, you listen to hours and hours of opinions and suggestions, and everybody's an expert, and yet at the end of the day, a lot rests on your shoulders. And I'd like to acknowledge the fact that I believe I'm speaking to a very important group of people here today. And I mean that sincerely, because the healthcare divide that is going on right now in this country, in this state, and in this county has never been greater. And I don't think we've seen the end of that. It's not a short-term problem. So much depends on the decisions that this board will make in the coming months in order to make sure, I think the primary concern that I have is that we maintain and stay on track of the core mission of this hospital. How we were formed and why we were formed. And it's imperative that each board member understand that, be reminded of that, and never forget that. Today we have a control board in Nassau County called the Nassau Finance Board. Well, many years ago, in the 90s, as a result of Nassau County's failure to balance its own budget, certain things had to take place. Governor Pataki then gave Nassau County $125 million, and along with that was the sale of this hospital for $87 million. That was when NIFO was born. Very hardworking, intelligent people went to work back then to make sure of one thing, that this hospital remained open, that this hospital remained public, that its employees remained public, and that the core mission never changes, that we serve all residents of Nassau County, regardless of their ability to pay, how much insurance they have or do not have, what communities they come from. We are the safety net hospital of this county. That mission can never change. And what I am afraid of and what I see today, quite frankly, is the mission of this hospital is in jeopardy. And I believe the mission of this hospital is in jeopardy due to what upper management, and let me start off right now. First of all, let me clear up a couple of misconceptions. First of all, do not look at me as the enemy or as the foe. I am not. I know I'm the union guy, but I have a great deal of respect for everyone that sits on this board, and I meet very regularly with our CEO, NuHealth. This is not a personal matter. This is business. This is about reminding this board that CSCA is here because we represent public employees, because we take care of the public in Nassau County. And I'm afraid, because of certain agendas, be it personal or be it corporately driven, that we are falling off track of that mission. And that's why I remind you, you may be the most single important body in this county today, because the decisions that you make could have long-term effects on all the residents of this county. You know, it used to be, the stigma of this hospital was, we were here basically to serve the minority communities. That was a stigma. I'm not saying it's a fact, but that was the misnomer that, basically NUMC was to serve the minority communities and the poor and the underinsured, and of course that is true. However, what we're not realizing today is that core group has grown exponentially. It's no longer about minority communities. It's about the entire county of Nassau. You could live in Roosevelt, you could live in Freeport, you could live in Massapequa. Doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter what color you are. It matters that you're a resident of this county County, and we have a safety net hospital with a public mission to provide the highest standard of quality health care to all. And the way I see this mission being changed is we are slowly but surely changing from the public benefit mission to that of almost a Wall Street type private corporation. And not only is that wrong, not only does that go against those very hardworking men and women who helped form this PDC in the 90s, but it's dangerous. And there's no reason for it. I understand that with state cutbacks, there's been a lot of trouble here financially for the hospital. We get it. But let me just go over a few things that I find very, very disturbing and things that we need to address right now. During what can only be described as an epidemic of opiate drug abuse, our CEO, Laricchiuta, has convinced, from what I understand, many of the board members here to either close down or downsize our only public detox unit and our only public rehab unit. I believe the in-house detox is being slated for closure, and our rehab beds are being downsized. That's a decision you're going to have to make. Because as bright as Mr. Gianelli is, the buck stops here. He's not the final word, you are. The President of the United States is a very powerful man. Yet, he does not have the final word. He has to answer to Congress. He has to lobby and prove his case and get it voted by. That's the job of this legislature. This legislature, which is this body, this board, very, very important. As we see people dying from overdoses of opiates, we see people getting tragically murdered in pharmacies. As the only public hospital in Nassau County, do you really believe it's the wisest decision to shut down our detox unit? I mean, honestly, do you really think that's a wise decision? Goes against the very poor and against the very grain of why we're here. We need you to really take that into consideration. 2, I understand also this board is considering closing down or selling our only public extended care facility, A. Holly Patterson. Well, I can tell you right now, this union will fight that move with everything we have throughout the state. I'm also told that maybe that's not going to happen now. You're rethinking it. I wish you guys some Godspeed on that, and I hope that you come out with the right decision, because the public of Nassau County depends on you folks right here to keep that mission. Remember, it's the mission that we are here for, alive and well. Closing A. Holly Patterson would be disastrous. Look what happened without the Suffolk County. We understand it's tough. It's very difficult to keep running. But I also understand it's one of the few entities here that makes money. And I believe in your closed sessions you will find that A. Holly might have even turned a profit. But yet, we speak of closing it down. That can't happen. That cannot be allowed to happen. We will have the support of the communities here. At your next board meeting, we can pack this room with hundreds of community leaders and residents who will tell you they do not want to see A. Holly closed. You know, for almost 70 years, we provided health care for inmates at the correctional center. We no longer do that. Slowly by slowly, we're chipping away at what we were here for, at our mission, why we are here. We did not even bid competitively for that job. We gave it away. $18 million a year of guaranteed income. CEO Gianelli will tell you we lost money on that. He might be right. I'm not sure. I know we lost a guaranteed income of $18 million, and maybe we could have done things differently. The company that took it over, NuHealth, is doing it for $11 million. We lost many, many emergency room visits as a result. Again, why am I bringing this up? Because little by little, I am witnessing, and I think we all are, the dismantling of our only public hospital. And this board needs to realize that although Mr. Gianelli is a bright man, he's an intelligent man, he is not the last word, you are. Questions need to be asked in executive session. Why are we talking about closing? Don't talk to me about, state cuts and mandated funds coming. That's everybody's problem, just like the opiate situation I was talking about. In last week's Newsday, 2 hospitals are asking for more detox beds and more rehab beds. The public hospital that's here to serve every resident in this county instead is looking to close it. It's an oxymoron, if you will, really. The public hospital should be expanding, not shutting down. We faced as a union 2 rounds of layoffs here. We're going on our 2nd year without a contract. We've never made that a board problem. We continue to work and talk to Mr. Gianelli about that. I don't know if we're close. I don't know if we're far. It changes by the day. I hope we are. But the employees here feel as if they've been shunned aside. They no longer have an employee cafeteria, which is probably one of the only hospitals that I can think of where a doctor has to leave the premises and go to McDonald's in order to get away and get a reprieve from the pressures here and have a hot meal. That's sinful. It's been 3 years now. This board is silent. Nothing to say about that. To me, it's a sin. I talk to the doctors, to the nurses, to the residents, to the PCNAs, and they miss having that place. It wasn't just a cafeteria to eat. It was a place where they shared ideas about the hospital, about their unit. It's a place where they got away from the pressures of being here for 15, 16 hours. Our cafeteria is the other side of this auditorium with 30-cup urns for coffee and sandwiches made out of vending machines. That's no way to treat employees. And 3 years is too long to wait. Again, I asked the board, if your morale in the hospital is low, it affects the way we take care of the patients. You know that. You don't have to be a psychologist to figure that out. There were many other problems that I find here that we've been working on with Mr. Gianelli. Of course, the parking issue is a big one. Not a single person from within this hospital has ever been named chairman of any department. Every chairman's come from the outside, almost all of them exclusively from North Shore. There's a time and a place for North Shore. North Shore is a wonderful healthcare network. We think they do a fantastic job. They're not a public hospital. They're not a network of public hospitals. They are a privately run hospital. And they have a completely different mission than we do. Mr. Gianelli talks about clinically integrating with North Shore. We're not 100% opposed to the idea of integrating with North Shore. I've done a lot of research on it, and in some ways it could be beneficial. If management and doctors integrate and share ideas, that might actually work. Our reimbursement rates on the commercial side go up. I get it. See, I'm not such a dummy. I'm not your union thumb like Mr. Gianelli might paint me as in the back room, although he'll have coffee with me tomorrow. Okay?
Never said it.
I do my homework. We're not here to oppose every move that Mr. Gianelli makes and to give this board a hard time. We're here to remind you, please, not just for the employees, not just for the union, but for the residents, all residents of Nassau County. It's okay for a bright CEO to come up with ideas, but they all cannot go through because they came from the CEO. You need to challenge him. You need to make sure we stay on track. It's a public hospital with a public mission, yourselves of that. Again, maybe the most important group of people I'm going to speak to in a long time. I want to end with something that I just found out yesterday. I'm going to bring this up. Me and Mr. Gianelli are going to have a very long talk about this. But I understand that there was a request by the CEO for approval and support from Nassau County to enter into and create a not-for-profit corporation. Now, I'm assuming as board members, you must all be aware of this, because if I'm aware of it, you must be. I got the letters here from both the county executive and from the county attorney. Again, where are we going? A not-for-profit corporation is another word for a dummy corporation, which will allow management to hire non-union workers, avoid the benefits that are installed by the contract. That's dirty pool, folks. It was not signed by the county executive. You do not have the support of the county executive. Obviously, you do not have the support of this union, and we will fight till death on this one. And lastly, the Long Island Heritage Foundation, which is a philanthropic group, very proud that this hospital can finally raise money. However, when I look at the list of names, and I'm not going to share this, you should have it. And if you don't have it, you can request it by contacting me. I'm not going to list the names. I'm not going to embarrass anybody. We have over $3 million in salaries coming out of this philanthropic group. $3 million as we lay people off, as we work without a contract. We have people making $205,000 a year, $175,000 a year, 171, 219, $274,000 a year coming from the Long Island Heritage Foundation. Now, I would hope you all are aware of this. If not, somebody's got some explaining to do. I know about it. I'm outraged by it. Not because people are making money. That's no problem. If you want to give the CEO a raise, after we have a contract in this place, after our workers that make $35,000 a year get a raise, we've worked for 2 years without a contract. I just want to let this board know something. Between the concessions of the last contract and what we've done so far, this CSEA has saved this corporation $40 million. 40. $25 million in concessions last contract, and around roughly $15 million that we have not had a raise in 2 years. That's significant. Is it recognized by us? When you, Mr. Gianelli, presents you with our proposals, is it recognized that we've done our share? I don't know. I'm told not. I'm told that the board doesn't support such things. I wait for the final word on it. Don't dismantle this corporation. Don't dismantle this public mission. He has some bright ideas, and I think he's a very intelligent man. But remember, the buck stops here. If this corporation is dismantled, if the public mission is destroyed, we will blame you, the board members. You will be held responsible, as well as Mr. Gianelli. I hope the next time I come here, we can share a drink, have a cup of coffee. Because, again, we are not your enemies, we are not your enemies, but we are not going to lay down and allow this public hospital to be private. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Laricchiuta. Just a quick